evening and welcome to Feel Good Talk Love 101. I'm your host, Charles Brakely, along with the host of Love 101, my man, Naeem Najib. What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be seen. All that, you know what I mean? So definitely always a great time with you, brother. So before we get started, as always, we got to pay homage to our sponsor, which is the A Game. So we're going to go with this 30-second commercial and we'll come right back. And that is the A Game, great for strength, vitality, libido, and I said strength. I meant energy as well. So I'm slipping tonight, man. Excuse me. But anyway, that is the A Game. Give me a call, 302-723-2836 to get your free sample. I have 3 samples left. So we'll see if that changes throughout the program tonight.
Better get it while it's hot. That's all I know.
Yes, it is hot. It's burning hot. My hands are hot. Yeah, I'm all burnt up over here. So definitely. What's going on, Naeem? What's the topic for tonight, brother? What are we talking about?
Well, I want to go back to the open conversation where people ask questions and we talk about what is on the minds of our audience. And there's a little delay between the live stream and when you actually hear what we're saying. So I will begin with the fundamental principles of love and fear, just in case anyone doesn't know who I am or what I am here for. Let me tell you, my name is Naeem Najib, can't even say my own name, and I'm here for to give everybody another way of looking at love and healthy relationships. And the reason why this is showing on your screen right now is because we need a common ground when we're talking about love, aka healthy relationships, and a common ground when we're talking about fear, aka toxic relationships. So we can come from a common ground instead of just an opinionated emotional ground, which is fine. Just I'm going to offer you this so you can see how this factors into what you already know to be true. It's nothing you don't know. It's nothing new, really. It's just what you already know, put in a systematic, ordered way so that you can think about it like this in terms of here or there, meaning this or that, love or fear. Simple as that. And there's no in between. So let's take a look here. So we got toxic relationships on one side and healthy relationships on the other side. Toxic relationships are based on fear and force. What do we mean by force? We mean that trying to force something to happen, force someone to be someone they're not, even trying to force yourself to be someone you're not, which is the opposite of love, which is freedom, doing what you want to do, being who you are. And also sincerity you see at the bottom of that, the right side, which is love and healthy relationships. So if you're, again, if you're not a singer, a dancer, and someone says, oh, I'd really like you if you could sing or dance, you try to force yourself to do that. That's not you. That's not you. That's not what you want to do. Even if that is you, but it's not what you want to do, then that's not loving. That's not healthy to try to force a situation or force an outcome. So then we have attack, anger, and abuse on one side of the toxic relationship side, and then we have appreciation on the other side. Big world of difference there, right? Between anger and appreciation, abuse, attack, and appreciation. That's clear. And then we got conflict and confusion. And then we have, for healthy relationships, communication and clarity. Now, conflict is something that's going to arise regardless, because there's always going to be clashing personalities, likes, dislikes, schedules, all sorts of things. But to leave it at conflict without the resolution, without the clarity and the communication is what makes for toxicity. It's not like you're going to avoid conflict or confusion. It's just about how do you approach it from a solution-oriented mindset. Like, okay, we having a little issue here. Now, how can we get past it? Or how come you always causing issues? What's the problem with you? How come you don't consider anybody so-and-so? You're just complaining. That should be another one in fear, complaints instead of clarity. And then we got for the T, trauma and triggers for fear. And for love, we got trust and truth. And finally, for S, we have separation, shame, suspicion. And on the love side, we got sincerity. So those are the universal principles. You notice it spells the word facts out: freedom, appreciation, communication, trust, sincerity. This is all you need to know in order to have your PhD in love. Okay, it's laid out. It's already here for you. It's available. It's true. And it's free. I'm offering it to everybody to use, just so we can start having better conversations. Nobody should have to pay money in order to have another way of thinking about things, or another thought, or a clearer view on things. Mm-hmm. This is something that you could choose to accept or not at any time. Mm-hmm. Now, if there's anybody that wants to give any questions, comments, my question today is, what do you want to talk about? What is something that you believe is important that we should pay attention to when we're opening this conversation about love and healthy relationships? Look at this as a round table discussion where we're just talking about problems and solutions. Don't forget about the problem. We do want to bring the problems up. So if you or someone you know has a problem in some area of their life or relationships, including with themselves, it may be a situation where they don't know how to set boundaries or what have you, let's talk about it and let's see what the community has to say. But in the meantime, anything you want to throw in there, Chuck B?
Nah, I mean, just by being on this program every week, I've learned a lot. So, and it makes sense. It's clear. It's clear. It's precise. Everything's to the point. So, I definitely appreciate, you coming on here, taking your time out to, break this down, this thing called love, because a lot of people don't know what love is. I mean, they think it hurts. They think it's pain. They think you have to deal with, if you love somebody, you have to deal with somebody, and it's all not true. We're talking about the universal principles of love. We're not just talking about, I don't know, like the likes that everybody always talk about, like I'm in love or out of love. What is in love? Like, talk to me, like, I mean, you either love the person or you don't love them. It's not, I love them, but I'm not in love. Like, I don't get that. A lot of people use that term a lot, and, or unconditional love. What's the difference? I mean, do you love them, or like, what is unconditional love? Matter of fact, somebody out there, please help us out. Let me understand it. I'm trying to understand that right now because I hear it a lot. So I just need to understand, what's up. And also, I hear a lot of people talking about the love languages. I want to understand what that is. Why, to me, it sounds like likes, not just, not love, because love is universal. It shouldn't be, it is universal. So how can something that's universal have any limitations to it? You understand what I'm saying? Or, I don't know. So somebody help me out. If anybody's out there, we do got some comments out there right now. So let's jump on those right now. We got Dawn Lee Thomas. She says, good evening, gentlemen. What's going on, Dawn? Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. We have Izzy Meditates. Hello, everyone. What's going on, Izzy? Thanks for tuning in. And we have Kendra Moore. What's up, Kendra? She says, can you talk about trust broken?
These are all good topics. And going back to what you said, mm-hmm. Charles, about I love you, but I'm not in love with you, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the fact that nobody's wrong for having an opinion or feeling, right? We're not out here to judge anybody's position. It's just like that saying, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I grew up, I put aside childish things, that type of thing. You know what I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. And so there's nothing wrong with being a child and doing as a child does and thinking as a child thinks.
Right.
at a certain age and stage in life, when you behave that way and speak that way and come to a discussion that way, it looks childish. There's no other way to say it, right? So it's like saying, like, okay, you come to an adult conversation and someone's like, well, hey, how come we can't, how come we can't reach up and touch the moon? How come it's not close enough? Stuff you used to think as a child, like, oh, the moon is right there, and whatever maybe you didn't understand distance and space and stuff like that. But then you learn, and you learn about the world and about the way things work. So think about this conversation, this time together, as looking at another way of how these principles of love work. And I invite you to put them to the test, to ask questions, to, just like Kendra said, can you talk about trust broken? We're going to talk about that. But let's go back to, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Right. I think most people, when they say that, they know exactly what they mean. And my question is, why don't you just say that? Say what you mean, right? Because saying I love you, you wouldn't say that in any other way. It's like, hey, Charles, like, say we're sitting next to each other. Imagine that we were in there saying, we're like, hey, Charles, hey, I'm here with you, but I'm not in here with you. I'm not here with you though. Right. It's like, it's like I want the A game, but I don't want the A game. I want to pay you for this product, but I'm not going to pay you for this product. It's like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Sounds like a contradiction because we're using the same word, but love is one of the most misrepresented words because it has so many meanings that we've given it and that we've been taught to give it. Oh, love is healing, love hurts, right? Love is romance and sex, love is for family. There's different kinds, different types and languages. It's too confusing, y'all. Anything else with all these different complex contradictory meanings, you would put aside and say, listen, we need to get straight about this. It's like, listen, hey guys, if I said, hey, I'm Naeem and I'm a investor and a bank robber. I'm a teacher and an arsonist. It's like, wait, what are you? You build buildings or you burn them down? It's like, no, I build them and I burn them. It's like, wait a minute. I'm a criminal and I'm a police officer, right? Like you saying the contradictory things, like which one are you? Because if you claim to be both, we're automatically going to go with the worst one and say, well, he's saying he's fighting crime, but he's out here doing the crime, you know? And so which one are you? So when someone says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, here's what I gather that let's go back to the, no, we don't even need to go. We don't need to go back yet. Y'all know what love is. Pick one out of the facts, freedom, appreciate. Pick one, any one of them, Charles.
Oh, right? You want to pick some? Oh, okay.
Pick any one.
Let's say communication.
Communication. So if love is communication, you can say, I communicate with you, and I don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you. Right? Because usually when someone says, I love you, but I'm not in love, the in love is about the romance. So I appreciate you. I communicate with you. I just don't see you in that romantic type of way. And that's fine. But you could say that. You could easily just say, hey, I appreciate you, appreciate our friendship. I'm just not, I don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you. Right? Or I'm not attracted to you, or whatever it may be, to make it extremely clear. So let's go to what Kendra was saying about trust, because we said love is trust.
Right.
Talk about trust broken. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So if you can show my screen, I'm looking up here because I got my screen over here too, so I'm looking at like crazy. So here we go. Let's talk about it. So this lesson will break down trust to everyone in a way that I hope is easy to understand. So let's follow along. So trust, this is lesson 1 in a book called Trust is Not a Game, a Manual for Grace. I had it over here, but I don't know what none of my books are. So it's called Trust. What is it? We need a common understanding of what trust is before we can talk about having trust. So have a conversation with your partner about the following question. And in this conversation, we're all partners in this conversation. So what is trust? And I invite anybody to answer these questions. I know it comes a little delayed, but answer whichever question or questions you want to. So the first question is, what is trust, y'all? What does it mean to you? What does trust mean to you? Do you trust yourself? Are you a trustworthy person? What makes someone trustworthy? What makes someone untrustworthy? Can trust be lost? Can it be found? How so? Can trust be broken? Can it be fixed? How so? Is trust earned? Are there levels to trust? So these are very important questions to ask. Why? Because we need to know exactly what we're talking about when we use the word trust. We can agree that everyone wants trust and to be trusted. Now let's discuss what trust is. So we're going to discuss it with the program meaning the way we've been conditioned to see it. We're going to have a dialogue with the program, meaning fear, our conditioning, about trust. I'm just trying to get the thing the right side. All right, that's perfect. So then we will tell the truth about trust, because I would like your help in this conversation. So we're going to use simple common sense to have this dialogue. And in common sense, you ask questions, right? You don't just go off of how you feel. You ask questions and see where the questions lead. So let's start with this question. What is trust? So I'm going to change my voice. I'm giving y'all the heads up. The voice is about to change, and I want to hear nothing like, oh, that's a woman's voice. This is my crazy voice, y'all. All right? So Naeem's crazy voice sounds as such. Now, moving on. The program believes that trust is complicated. It believes that it's complicated and complex. So the question is, what is trust? I'm going to be the program on this side. Okay. And if you could be common sense, I'm going to try to get it in a decent fashion. Good. All right. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, hey, Chuck, trust is complicated, yo.
Okay. Why does it have to be complicated?
You know, because everybody has their own way of seeing it. You know, you, me, everybody got their own way of seeing trust.
Well, let's decide on a common way of seeing it then.
No, it's not that easy, though. Everybody got their own thing, their own way, man.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Do you want trust in your relationships?
Yeah, man, who don't?
So how can you have something if you can't even say what it is?
I don't know. Now let's look at the truth about trust. Here's a principle. Trust is simple. And again, you don't have to believe, accept, or welcome the ideas I'm offering here. This is just another way of seeing it. And I offer it as a universal principle because it's true. Mm-hmm. So,
and I do want to say this too, Naeem. This is all Naeem's work. So, you know, this is not something he got out of the library or, you know, picked up. This is something that he wrote. So, you know, thank you, Naeem. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and you can find it on Amazon. Search Trust is Not a Game or search my name or both. You'll find this book as well as 12 others. So what is trust? Here's a principle. Trust is love and love is trust. Mm-hmm. It is impossible to trust someone without loving them. It is impossible to love someone without trusting them. Remember the facts of love? What were they again? F for what?
Freedom.
Then A for?
Appreciation.
Then
communication,
and then
trust, and sincerity. There you go.
So we got trust is right in there. Trust, communications, depreciations, all of that is love. So since love becomes this complicated topic all the time, I like to substitute those words. So like, hey, you know, I appreciate you, because I can say that to you. You can say, how about this? You can say it to anyone who you truly appreciate. Mm-hmm. You may not say I love you to everyone. And it may seem weird in public. You meet somebody, say, hey, I love you, right? Your delivery person comes by and says, hey, I love you, Uber Eats, right? Mm-hmm. But if you appreciate them, you do love them. You love that they brought you your food. It don't mean that you're about to settle down and then get into a relationship with them. It just means you appreciate that. And sometimes you express that appreciation through financial means, like a tip. Mm-hmm. And so love takes different forms in different relationships, but it's always appreciation. And appreciation can be, hey, I want to feed you, so I ordered you Uber Eats. Or appreciation may be I give you money so you can go eat. Or I made you food. Or I just invite you over. Or we spend time talking. Whatever the case is, appreciation is universal. You can do that with your friend, your lover, your family member, relatives, coworker, colleague, people here on Feel Good Talk, in the comment section, on social media, you can express appreciation anywhere to anybody
Right.
at any time. And that's why it's universal. But when you start saying, love, I don't know if I want to say I love this person. You don't have to. Say you appreciate if you actually do. So we said it's impossible to love someone without trusting them and trust them without loving them. That may seem like a tall order, but guess what? You don't have to believe it. Why? Because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Love is a universal principle. Therefore, it's not open to personal interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Love is trust. Trust is love. Excuse me. Love is trust. Trust is simple. Therefore, trust is simple. I don't read what's on the page since I wrote it. Like my mind, it just looks at it and say, "Oh, I know what that is," and I just read whatever I want to say, which is not reading. But y'all see it, so y'all can go ahead and just read yourself. I'm a writer, not a reader, for the record. So moving on. How do you trust? Program principle. Trust depends on what you say. Oh, excuse me. Trust depends on what you say and what you do, Charles. So the program believes that trust depends on what you say and do, and what you don't say and what you don't do. So let's go back into this discussion. How do you trust? So here the program says, I can only trust you if I can rely on your word.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean?
Words of affirmation. That's my love language, Chuck. It means if you tell me you're gonna be somewhere at a certain time, I expect you to be there.
So if I show up on time, you trust me, and if I'm late, you don't trust me.
Listen, you only as good as your word, yo.
If you have an emergency and I can't make it, does that make me trustworthy?
Why you gotta throw monkey wrenches? That's not, not necessarily. It depends,
So you can't say that someone's words and actions will create trust in every situation, every time, can you?
Monkey wrench.
Mm.
And listen, we're open to comments and questions. Go ahead and put them in here while we're reading. This is just part of a conversation about trust. Since Kendra opened the door about that, and we're still getting to that idea of trust can be broken. We're just building up on the idea of trust first. So here's a trust principle. Trust is a choice, right? Just imagine like somebody can force trust on you. That would be really, really devious, right? If I can do certain things to make you trust me, if that's the case, why would it be so hard for people to, like politics or likes and ratings, if we knew exactly what to do for 100% of the people to trust you 100% of the time? You just do that thing and then you got your trust, right? You got your following, you got your whatever. But the same message doesn't come across to the same people in the same way every time. That's why optics and all this stuff, perception, perspective, people are always looking to find another way to get on the good side of an audience.
Right.
But I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure, we've been doing this long enough, Chuck. We just get on here and be sincere. All right. If you trust us, you don't trust us. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I'm not trying to get anything from anybody here. I'm doing this as much for me as I'm doing it for you, because when we met, Charles, when you and I met, you already knew. I mean, you could see we were doing this already. You were doing Feel Good Talk. I was doing Love 101, and it was going to happen anyway. So we just joined forces, and that was sincere. That was love in a nutshell, So there's nothing you can do to make someone trust you. That's what I'm saying. Trust is a choice that every person makes, and you can trust in this moment and then decide, okay, no, I don't trust, and then decide again. So now we're still building up to this idea about, can trust be broken?
But Naeem, if you think about it, we trust a lot of people on a daily basis. I mean, you got people that make your food every day. You trust that they're not going to do something or harm you in any way. So you trust them that, that they're going to make your food correctly and not harm you. You trust, let's say, on a plane, you get on a plane, you'll trust that, bus drive, whatever you do, you trust more than what we realize.
And you don't even go up there and be like, let me see your information. Let me see how long you've been working for the FAA, where you got your license from. You up here, interrogating the pilot, or let me inspect your kitchen real quick and see what you're doing in this restaurant. You just sit down, you enjoy your company, you order your food, and you don't even think about it, right? You just don't even think about what they're doing back there. And that's the best way to dine, right? You'll be like, I wonder what they're doing back there, right? That's not very, right.
That
doesn't feel good. But you're right. We give that trust away without thought. Just so why is it? And this is my question also, in close relationships with people that we say we love, that we may live with, that we may be related to, we're like this with the trust. Like we're like, oh, you got to earn my trust. You broke my trust. Because the idea that someone breaks your trust,
Right.
it has to be true on both sides. If someone can break it, that means that number one, trust is not a choice. They could do something and then your trust is just shattered like a broken mirror, right? They just threw a rock at your trust and your trust just shattered.
Right.
Which means that they can also do something to force it to be there again. But you got to look at both ways. If you notice no one can do something to force you to trust them, then how can they do something to force you to stop trusting them?
Right. That's a
you
great
can
point.
You can choose either way, and it don't have to be something incredible like, oh, I saw you walking down the street with a TV in your hand. I was like, hey, where you get that TV? You're like, oh, I found it on the street. You went go back in your house and your TV is missing. It don't have to be that deep. It could just be something that someone told you about someone and you looking suspicious, like, somebody showed me something, that's something fishy, something's up with this person. Or you could say, you know what? I trust them regardless of what somebody's saying. Right. I don't pay that no mind, right? And so again, trust is a choice. And so trust has absolutely, and that was a good point. So thank you for bringing that up, Charles, that we trust all the time anyway.
Right.
Trust has absolutely nothing to do with what someone or anyone says or does. That's a lie. Here's a universal truth test. If what someone says or does can produce the same result, let's say trust, in every single situation with every single person, every single time, what was said or what was done is totally meaningless if it can't produce that same result. You give it all the meaning it has to you. If you do not trust others, it is because you do not trust yourself. Oh, we're getting deep. Your ability to trust has absolutely nothing to do with them, absolutely nothing to do with another person, has absolutely everything to do with you. Trust is a decision you must make. Nothing anyone can do can cause you to trust them or stop trusting them. You have the power of decision. Moving on. So here's a program principle. There's levels to this, y'all. Levels to trust. So the program believes that trust has levels, which means it can be measured. But where do you find levels? In games. And trust is what? Not a game. So let's have this conversation. How is trust measured? This is the topic. I trust some people more than others,
How is that possible?
It depends, like we known each other for a long time.
So you're saying trust increases over time, more trust, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. You feel me.
Then you must trust everyone you've known for a long time, right?
No, you see, it's about the relationship, man. It's about the bond that we have, like family. I trust them because they're my blood. I trust you because you're my brother on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying there is some sort of genetic marker for trust.
No, why are you being foolish? No, you know what I mean. It's just you don't trust everybody the same.
I don't know what you mean because you never even define trust. Could it be that you're talking about something else and calling it trust?
I don't know. I need to put the thinking face emoji back in here. I had that in there. Yeah. I'll put that. I'm just like, no judgment. I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying to me about this thing. Because if you're telling me that north is north today, but tomorrow north is east, and the next day north is south, and north is west, whenever you feel like it, I'm like, but what's north though? Is it just a word you're using to describe whatever way you're going? It's like, hey Charles, I'm going north today. And then you like, so where you going today? I'm going north again. Then you, where you going? I'm going north today too. It's like you just saying the word north. Right. But you have turned around so many times that all I can gather is that you like saying north. You don't know where you're going. You're just saying a word that happens to coincide with a word we use as a direction. That's all I'm gathering. I'm not saying you wrong, because you get to say whatever you want to say. You get to say you're going north, even if you're actually going south. But if I'm trying to figure out how to get somewhere, right? This is what we're trying to figure out here. how to get somewhere, how to have trust in our relationships, we got to be clear. Because remember the C in love and healthy relationships, clarity, communication. We got to be clear. If I know that you mean north means whatever you want it to mean, but north means this way on the compass universally, then I'm going to look at the compass when I want to go somewhere. When I'm going somewhere with you, I just be like, all right, we're going to end up anywhere. I just, find my way back later. But I'm not going to say that we're going to get somewhere north, because you'll be making stuff up as you go along. So, caught myself. All right. So, trust principle. Trust is maximal. Trust cannot be measured. You either trust or you do not trust. Trust is maximal all the time. There are no increments or levels, because trust is not a game. So here's a program principle. Here we get into the question now. Trust can be lost or broken, right? So now the program believes that trust can be broken or lost. Let's discuss. This is what we started with, right? From Kendra's question. So here's the topic. How can trust be broken or lost? When you don't follow through on your promise, you lose my trust.
Mm-hmm. How can we find it? Do we file a missing trust report?
You're not funny, Charles. It's not funny. It's not a joke. I'm talking about my trust. You're talking about when you break my trust, you betray me. Betrayal hurts. My trust is broken. You broke me. You broke our trust.
I'm looking for solutions to your ambiguous problems around trust. If trust has been broken, how do we fix it?
I'm saying it depends on how I feel. You have to earn my trust back.
Mm-hmm. So is trust a feeling now, or is trust a currency that can be earned, or both?
You're making it complicated.
You started out by saying it's complicated. Now I see why.
'Cause it is.
Maybe it's not complicated at all. Maybe it's just the way you're looking at it.
I feel like I'm right, though. All right, let's bring it home. Trust is always present. That's the principle. Trust cannot be lost. You may not be aware of it, but that doesn't mean it's missing. Trust is not made of glass, and it does not break. Trust is love, and love cannot be threatened. No one can betray you. And here's where we get into the real meat of things. It is your expectations that are betrayed, not your trust. Let's get to the program beliefs. It says, I have trust issues. It's like, listen, if you have trouble understanding trust, the program would be like, you have trust issues, but this is not true. There can be no issues with trust because trust is truth. And the program is a liar, right? There can be no issues with 2 + 2 is 4.
Right.
It can just be issues with somebody is trying to convince you that it's something else because they make up the solution as they go along. So the program is using the word trust again, but it's not speaking of trust at all. It's speaking of expectations. And I want everybody to take a note of this. You do not have trust issues. Let's take a break. Let's take a pause.
And can I say this, Naeem? Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I say this also? I think we are trusting creatures by nature, but we just don't realize it.
Because does it feel better to trust or to distrust? That's the question.
Right, exactly.
Right? It feels better when you trust. So it's in our nature, in our best interest to trust. Now, just how do you do it? Because just because I trust someone, does that mean I'm going to let them manage my money? No. Does that mean I'm going to let them watch my children? No. Does it mean I'm going to let them pick out my wardrobe? No, right? It doesn't mean the idea of trust doesn't produce a outcome on the level of form. Like because I trust you, that means I'm going to let you borrow my car now. Okay. It just means that I trust who you are, your heart, your intentions. And even if like people that are late all the time, I do trust and believe that they want to be there on time. I just know better. I know that they're not going to get there on time. That doesn't mean that they broke my trust because they came late. It's just like, listen, I know they didn't mean to, like, if I feel my ego feels insulted, like, oh, why you show up late? And like, listen, this is what they do. So I'm not going to lose trust, or choose not to trust them because of that. I just know when we have a to have a trip scheduled or an appointment scheduled, I'm not going to rely on them to get there on time. And that's the difference. It's a good word to use. To trust someone does not mean to rely on them. And that's where we get it twisted. We think because we trust someone, we have to be able to rely on them. So we put the metric for trust under the idea of reliability, right? We say, oh, can I rely on you for this? And when you see someone who's very reliable, like, oh, they're always here on time. They're always, picking up the package. They're always doing this. They're always showing up. They're always doing, then you say they're reliable. But that doesn't mean that you can trust, doesn't mean, because they're reliable probably in that one area. Like, okay, they bring your package or whatever. They carry your package up the steps, and your package is, let's say, something you got to put together. Does that mean you can rely on them to put it together, like a dresser or, some kind of unit that needs assembly? You can rely on the delivery person to deliver the thing, but you don't rely on them to put it together. You see what I'm saying? So, but does that mean you don't trust the delivery person just because, I ordered the shelf and the delivery person, they didn't know how to put it together. I don't trust them no more. But that's not what they do, right? They bring it to you. So we're talking about two different things. So my idea, my invitation is to invite you to separate the idea of reliability from trust. Because you can't even you rely on yourself all the time. Imagine when you have back pain or hip pain or you fell and hurt yourself, you can't even rely on yourself to get up and manage the same flight of stairs the same way you did yesterday or the same walk or whatever. So you saying, oh, I trust my legs because, they've been working for me. Well, what if it gets injured? Are you going to rely on it the same? No. But does that mean you can't trust your body? You see what I mean? So let's just be clear about what we're saying here. You do not have trust issues. What you have are expectation issues. And here's the truth. It is your expectations that get broken, not your trust. It's your expectations that get betrayed, not your trust. Expectations are premeditated grievances waiting to happen, and we will explore expectations later on. So here's the conclusion of this. And I use this first chapter because I wrote this book in a very specific way. Whereas a lot of my books, I give you parts and chapters and bring the message out one step at a time. I give you 100% of the message in this first chapter, and then the rest of the book starts explaining why it is the case, why it is the way it is. So if you listen to this podcast, you already understand everything you need to understand about trust. If you you already know the truth. If you want to understand it better, just get the book and read the rest of it. But this is everything, by the way. It's the Cliff Notes. So can you read the truth part? I'll read the lies part.
Okay.
All right. So here's the lies. So just summarizing everything we went through. Trust is complicated. It can't be explained.
Trust is simple. Trust is love.
Trust is about what other people say and do.
Trust is all about you. It's your decision.
Trust has levels and can be measured.
Trust is maximal. Trust is not measured.
Trust can be lost and found. Call customer service.
Trust is always present.
Trust can be broken and it can be fixed.
Trust cannot be threatened by anything.
Trust is fragile. Gotta be delicate with it.
Trust is strength.
Trust must be earned.
Trust is free.
Clear? All right, let's get to some comments now.
Yeah, we got a few of them on here. They brewing. So I know we got a couple on here. Let's see what we got here. All right. Oh, Kendra says conditional love is manipulation. Nice, Kendra. All right. And she also says, so if someone does something to you and you therefore you stop trusting them, does that mean that you stop loving them? Good question.
All right. Let's pause for that one right there. There's a lot being said right here. And I know you asked this question a little earlier, Kendra, but it's a good question to bring the different pieces apart and put them back together. So if someone does something to you and then you stop trusting them, that means you stop loving them. First of all, the principle is trust is always there. You have to choose to join with it or not, choose to see someone in that way or not. It's not about stop trust, stop love. It's about blocking it. It's kind of like the sun. You know, the sun is there, but just because the cloud came overhead doesn't mean the sun went out. Because you can go outside in a sunny day and put an umbrella up and be like, it's shady today. But who did you put the sun out with that? No, you just blocked it. So you can block trust and block love. It doesn't feel good. And it doesn't mean that you stopped it, though. You can't stop it. And the other thing, and it doesn't feel good. It feels painful. But the thing is, how we normally have been taught to connect. Okay, you do this, and therefore I trust you. You do this, therefore I don't trust you. So let's use money. Somebody, I loan them some money, they pay me back. I trust them now with my money. But again, what are we talking about? Reliability. I'm relying on you to pay the money back, and you did it. Now, they didn't pay. Let's say I gave them money, they didn't pay it back. Now I say I don't trust them. Now, how about this? Let's just speak a little loosely about it. If someone is a liar, meaning they lie all the time, can you trust them? You can trust them to lie, right? Yeah. Right. So it's kind of like interesting, like, because when you distrust and you feel suspicious, it's not a healthy way of thinking or looking at things. It causes internal damage more than it does anything else. So if someone is constantly lying, constantly manipulating, or whatever the case, you can trust that, that's what they do. Yep. But that doesn't mean that you have to hate them. Okay. And it also means you're not going to rely on them to give you the truth, or to rely on them to pay you your money back. And so you have a different type of relationship with them. If you know someone's a kleptomaniac, they got sticky fingers, they always picking up stuff and that's not theirs. Just don't take them around your valuables. Maybe you can meet with them in a neutral situation. I don't know, like nature, go on a hike somewhere, but not in your house, right? Not somewhere where they can take your stuff. But again, it's the idea that it causes too much stress and pressure and force when you believe that you have to now change something or someone in order to trust them or to get them to be trustworthy. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Awesome. We got Izzy Meditate. She says, pretty deep. We got Tamika Lopez. What's going on, lady? She says, hello, you guys. And we got Izzy Meditate. She says, expectation feeds frustration. It is an unhealthy attachment to people, things, and the outcomes we wish we could control, but don't. Dr. Steve Maraboli.
Thank you, Dr. Maraboli. Yes, and thank you for sharing that, Izzy. Yes, expectation. Some people talk about managing your expectation. How about this? If we know that no good comes of expectation ever, why not just get rid of it? It's kind of like saying, you know what? I know that we got an infestation in the house, but let's just keep one roach. Just keep one roach around. That one roach, I don't have a problem with that. It's all of the relatives of the roach, but let's keep one roach around. I don't think anybody wants to see one, much less a bunch of them. So someone said, oh, manage your expectations. That's like saying, well, imagine talking to a pest control company that says, we can manage your infestation. We'll take it down from 100 to about 5. You only see 5. They're just cool in the gang. They just run around every now and then, and they're chilling. They're not trying to reproduce. Just 5. Like, what about 0 though?
Right.
No. We can only manage about 5. No more, no less.
Right.
But if it's an infestation, if it's an illness in your body, if it's something you don't want, why accept any of it? So I invite everyone to consider a life without expectations. Without expectations for yourself, for your relationships, for anyone. Where there's, instead of expectation, what do you replace that with? Appreciation. What do you replace that with? Grace. And what do we mean by grace? It means that, okay, I know we said we were going to go on this hike today at 6 o'clock. And if things change, although I really would like to, I'm going to also make alternative plans. And I'm also not going to be attached if we actually get to go or not. Or maybe we can do something different. Maybe it rained. Maybe we're not able to hike today or what have you. Maybe the weather changed. Maybe something happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to expect the outcome that I'm expecting. I'm not gonna be attached to that outcome.
Right.
I'm gonna allow for whatever happens to happen, because the expectation is that I'm grabbing a hold of it, and I'm only gonna allow myself to be happy if it happens this way, which is a very limited way of allowing yourself to be happy.
Okay. I got another comment here. This is a good one here too. Kendra says, expectations is a part of life. My job hired me with the expectation that I will do my task. If I don't meet the expectation, then I don't get paid.
That's a good way of looking at it, and another use of the word, because I offer this too. Maybe the job maybe offered you responsibilities and relies on you to handle those responsibilities, which we call your job. And maybe if you don't handle those responsibilities, then yeah, you don't get paid, because that was the agreement that was made. So there is it's healthy to have a relationship where you know exactly what the responsibilities are in a relationship, in whether it's a relationship with your job or what have you. You know what that is. The way that we're using expectations in a relationship with free people is that you can expect things, but again, from people, but you're not paying them to do these things, right? You're not paying them to pick up the phone and answer your text. And when you have those expectations, they end up hurting you. They become premeditated grievances. And there can be no grievance on a job where someone doesn't fulfill their responsibilities, because it's like, okay, well, you know the response to that. You get fired, you don't get paid, we replace you, etc. So there's an understanding there where even if you don't fulfill those expectations, let's just quote those words, expectations, as Kendra is using it, there's no grievance, because there is an agreement set forth. There's a contract, there's an understanding. You do this, you get paid. You don't do this, you don't get paid. So I'm not going to be mad if you don't do it, because I'm just not going to pay you, right? And you're not going to be mad if you don't get paid because you didn't do it. And that's the thing. So that's another way of looking at it. But thank you for that comment, Kendra.
All right. Izzy says, if you don't expect it and it happens, it will be a pleasant surprise. Right.
How about that?
Yeah, that's true. And premeditated grievances. Love that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for the comments. So we got another one. Kendra says, gotcha. Thank you. Thanks, Kendra. Thanks for that too. We appreciate you. Appreciate everybody on here. Thanks for the comments. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Yes, indeed.
Because I want to say that what Kendra said is correct, because nobody can be wrong about their position. Expectations are part of your life, if that's what you're calling it. We're just translating what each other's saying. We're really saying the same thing, that if your responsibilities in this relationship with your employer is to do this, and therefore they expect you to do that, then we understand. If the expectations are being used in a relationship as premeditated grievance, because I'm like just hoping and wishing and staking my peace, my trust, my love on you doing this, that's not a tangible thing, right? That's not saying, okay, I'm staking that I get to the place that I'm going because this Uber driver is going to drive me there. Now, if that doesn't happen, then I'm not going to get there. But that doesn't mean I'm mad, I'm upset. It just means that I get another driver or what have you, or another way of getting there. So we're talking about form and content. Content meaning what we talked about earlier, love and fear. and those universal principles. And I'm gonna set up the screen so you can see. Not yet. I'm not gonna share my screen yet. Y'all know what we talk about. We talk about this every time about the facts of love and fear. So let's go to another comment before we tune out.
Hey, what's going on, Dreddy Gal? She says, thanks as always, love Doctor and Dr. Feelgood. Yeah, I forgot that's my name now. I gotta remember.
Yeah, Dr. Feelgood.
Loved all the great helpful examples on truth and expectations in relationships. There could be a whole book just on expectations. Laugh out love. Appreciate you both. Hey, we appreciate you too, Dreddy. Thanks for tuning in, and appreciate the love. So, yeah, Naeem.
Yeah, trying to give me ideas. Write a book about expectations.
Exactly.
It'll be called this: Expectations, and then underneath, stop. Just
I like
stop.
that. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's great topics, man. Great conversation. Definitely.
Oh, you know what's even better type? It'll be called Stop, and underneath it'll be Expectations. Then underneath that would be like Just Stop. That's even better. I like that title. You know, sometimes it's a title that'll get me to write a book, and it'll be like, I like this title. How can I make it into a book? That's what my book about selfishness was. It was just like, I like The Secrets to Selfishness, a guide to ruining relationships. How can you make that into a book, Naeem? I was like, let me see. And I just made it into a book. So it's a good book, by the way. Yeah, you were saying, Charles?
Oh, nothing. I just said, I had a great conversation, man. Like always, and we always, every time I get on here, I learn something new, man. Appreciate it,
So what's your takeaway for today?
Put away expectations, bottom line. That's it. You said it all in a nutshell, and it's true. When you expect certain things or have expectations of certain things, sometimes you're disappointed, because it doesn't happen. So you have to stop putting those expectations into play and just roll with the punches. That's all.
Yeah. Because conflict is going to happen. Things we don't like are going to happen. Things we don't see or predict or expect are going to happen. So if you know that if you know that things are going to happen that are outside of your plans, then you don't get upset when plans don't go the way they were planned, because that's what life does. They say life happens, right? So it's part of life.
Yeah.
And my takeaway would be, and anybody else, any takeaways, go ahead and share it now before we move on out of here. My takeaway would be that in most cases, we agree. We just are speaking different languages.
Right.
And I'm not talking about no love languages. I'm talking about, for example, I was talking about expectations, and Kendra is talking about expectations, and we were saying the same thing. We were saying same thing. Well, we were saying different things using the same word.
Right.
So I use the word reliability, and responsibility and obligation, and you have this understanding with someone. She used the word expectation. We were saying the same thing. When you start getting into conflict over semantics, that is a state of childish thinking. I just want to say it's like saying, hey Charles, I'll meet you at the house. You're like, yeah, all right, I'll see you at the crib. It's like, no, I was going to see you at your house though. It's like, yeah, I'll see you at the crib. It's like, but I thought I didn't know you had any babies. I was just talking about we can go to the house. Like, I know, I'll see you at the crib. It's like, but I don't have a crib. I'm not going to any cribs. I'm not going to bye baby. I'm just going to see you at your house. You going to be there? It's like, yeah, I'll be at the crib. I'm like, where's this crib? What you could ask is, what do you mean when you say crib? And then you just sit back and let somebody answer you. What do you mean when you say expectations? Because guess what? They're not wrong just because they don't say it or mean it the same way you mean it. Just because somebody's not using the same words to explain the same idea as you doesn't mean that they're wrong and you're right, and it doesn't mean that you're right and they're wrong. How about this? Everybody's right, and the most important thing is to have clarity, because there can be nothing more right than that, being on the same page, having clarity with someone. And that's why the most important question to ask someone is, what do you mean? When you say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, taking it back. What do you mean? They're like, well, I appreciate you. I respect you. I just don't want to have sex with you. I just don't want to be in a romantic relationship with you. I just don't want to have that physical touch, love language with you, right? And that's very clear. That leaves no room for confusion.
Right.
All right. Thanks for listening. I'm done.
All right, we got one more comment out there. Let's see. We have Dreddy Girl again. She says, one takeaway among many: stop expectations, just stop. Love it. Thanks,
Thank
Dreddy.
you.
Appreciate you. And hey, man, awesome conversation. I just want to tell the people where they can find us. We're on LinkedIn at Feel Good Talk, Facebook at Feel Good Talk, YouTube at FGT Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. We're on Instagram at Feel.GoodTalk. And you can email us at feelgoodtalk113@gmail.com. And also, I want to talk about some of the shows that we do have, because we have a lot of shows, a show for everybody here, basically. Something for everybody. And I'm gonna get right to them. Tonight, as you know, we have Feel Good Talk Glow 101. That's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night, Let's Talk About It, Thursdays at 7 p.m. With Kendra Moore and Izzy Meditates. We have Williams World Friday at 6 p.m. with my man William Dickerson, and Jamila J's Girl Talk on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. She's coming all the way from California. We also have Gimme Some Sugar, Baking with Steven, on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's every other Sunday. He's coming all the way from Arizona. And we have pre-recorded shows here. Mindfulness Mondays with Izzy Meditates. That's Monday at 9 a.m. We also have Words from the Heart with Shayna Gordine. That's Tuesdays at 9 a.m. We also have More Life with Essential Oils on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And on Saturdays for the kiddies, we have Cassandra's Corner, Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Feel Good Talk, Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. Naeem always try to throw me off on the other side. It ain't worked this time, buddy. But again, great conversation, man, as always, man. And like I said, I always learn something when I'm on here. So appreciate that. And thanks to everybody out there that's participating in the comments. We definitely appreciate that. We love
Thank
that.
you.
We love to hear everyone's comments and concerns and questions and whatever you may have for us. And, ever since I've been on this, we've been together as far as, teamed up together, man. I've learned a lot. I'm able to distinguish a lot of different, bull crap, put it like that. Just,
Call it what it is.
yeah, and it's like, it's great, just to be, confident to talk about certain things. So again, I want to thank you for that. And again, all of this work here is Naeem Najib's work. So if you don't know, where can they find all your work at, Naeem?
That's a good question. Find it on Amazon, and put my name in. Also, I have an announcement. I finished I finished a while ago, but I finally published the book called The Course book called Healing Toxic Relationships, a course in recognizing and purifying toxic relationships. And it's a course, so you can we're going to start that course next Wednesday. So there's going to be 2 sessions. It's 3 parts, so 3 90-minute sessions. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's the first class, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's the second. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 5 o'clock to 6:30, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 7 o'clock to 8:30, and whichever fits your schedule better. And we'll have information about how you can sign up, register for that. We have slots open, and
You want me to share the screen?
No, don't share it yet, because I got something that's not even the right thing up.
Okay.
I don't have anything to share really, so on the screen. But But yeah, check in with Feel Good Talk. We have a page for it, and we'll send you to a landing page where you can register. So
Awesome.
toxic relationships, we can all relate, people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
hey man, I had a great time again. Hey, I thank you for coming on and doing what you do. Thank everybody out there for tuning in. Any last words before we get out of here?
listen, stop expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop.
There you go. That's from the man, Naeem Najib, you know. So again, this is Feel Good Talk Love 101. I'm your host, Charles Breaker, along with my man, Naeem Najib. We are out of here. Catch us next Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. right here on Feel Good Talk, Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. We're out of here. Be blessed. Enjoy the nice weather. And that's it. We're out. Peace.
Peace.